verses 1 through 10, the book of Exodus, just for a few moments. And there was a man of the house of Levi, and took the wife, a daughter of Levi. And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid it 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took him and an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch, and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flag by the riverbank. And the sister stood afar off with what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river. Her maiden walked along by the riverside, and when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child. And behold, the babe wept, and she had compassion on him, and said, "This is one of the Hebrew children." Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, "Shall I go and call thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee?" And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, "Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages." And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter. And he became her son. And she called his name Moses. And she said, "Because I drew him out of the waters." We want to talk about the two mothers of Moses. The two mothers of Moses. Mother Day is a bitter and sweet day in the mind of many people. There's no one in the world like their mother. For most mothers are very special persons. Others, however, have memories of mothers that are not all that special. Perhaps the relationship was strained for some reason or another. For some, motherhood is an accident and not always a welcome one. Some biological motherhood said motherhood is impossible. For some, mothers weren't all that nice. They had problems and difficulties. And for some, motherhood, on the very best circumstance, is still less than a bed of roses. So some of us, while we're rejoicing about our mothers, there are other folk who are very sad because their mothers never did meet up to their expectation. So we have to take time to reminisce and look over our lives and recognize how good Mama has been to us as an individual. There is a poet, Waylon Bush, said, "To become a mother is not so difficult. On the other hand, being a mother is very difficult." So we have to be careful as we approach the topic of motherhood. Not all mothers deserve to be elevated to a special or reverence or honor, but some do. And I think that we ought to remember to give honor to whom honor is due. Because mothers are very valuable to us. some of the greatest people in history to tell you how important their mothers were in their lives. For one, George Washington, for example, declares, "All I am, I owe to my mother." And I'm sure that many of us, as we look at this Old Testament story, a man named Moses became the man he was because of the type of mother that God gave him. And as we look through these pages and see what happened, both women who fulfilled the maternal role in the life of Moses made certain choices in regards to Moses that impacted the course of his life. Their choice made Moses the man he became. The old saying, "The hand that rocked the cradle rules the world." And that's an absolute true fact. And as we look at the different choices that these women made in the life of Moses, and then we can draw a conclusion of the choices that mothers have made in our own individual lives. First of all, they chose to give him life. Moses was born into a culture of death. The context in Exodus chapter 1, verse 7 through 22, according to the decree of Pharaoh, he had told all of the midwives to kill every male child. And Moses should have been killed as soon as he was born. Imagine the pregnancy. Imagine the waiting, the expectancy, the wondering whether the baby would be a girl or a boy. There were no ultrasounds to discover the sex of the baby. They had to wait until the mother gave birth, and when she did, she gave birth to a goodly boy. And as we look at the life of this particular individual, Moses, Jacob, baby boy, the Bible said he was a goodly child. Good, pleasant, agreeable, happy. In other words, he was a lovely baby. In his mother's eyes, he was perfect, and she refused to kill him. But she chose life and hid him for 3 months. His mother chose to disobey the commands of Pharaoh. She allowed her son to live and not die. By the way, both Moses' parents were involved in the decision to give him life. In Hebrews chapter 11, verse 23, it says, by faith, when he was born, he was hid 3 months of the parent because they saw he was a proper child. And they were not afraid of the king's command. I just want to walk through this if y'all would bear with me. So Amram and Jochebed hid the growing baby for as long as they could hide it. In Exodus chapter 2, verses 2 through 4. And of course, others knew that she was expecting. And how would she explain the fact that she was no longer pregnant? How could she explain a pregnancy that had gone on that long? How could she keep the existence of a growing, rambunctious baby boy from getting out? Her faith in God would not allow her to murder her son. But her faith in God was so great that she was willing to trust God with the life of her son. She could not kill the baby, and she could not secure his life either. She made a little basket of reed, applied pitch to it so that it would not leak, and put her baby in it, and set him on the Nile River to drift, trusting that the providential will of God, that the baby would survive. The baby sister ran along the river banks and watched to see what was going to happen to this little baby that God had given to Jochebed and Amram. And as we consider the choice that this mother had, she could have done what was commanded of her by the evil Pharaoh of Egypt: destroy every male baby at birth. And in that particular day, they were taking these male babies and casting them into the Nile River, because the Nile River was full of crocodiles. And these babies were eaten alive by the crocodiles in the Nile River. And so, in verse 5 and 6, the daughter of Pharaoh comes down to the river to bathe. And when she saw a floating ark, a little basket, she sends her servant to investigate. And they bring her the basket, and she looks inside of the basket, and she finds a crying baby boy. Because he's circumcised, she recognized that he's a Hebrew baby. And immediately understand that his mother had chosen life over death for this child, and not to carry out the mandate of the Pharaoh, which was her father. And we're told that she had compassion on him. She had compassion on him. She spared his life. She had pity on this little crying baby in that little tiny ark. And in that instant, this princess of Pharaoh, the daughter of the king of Egypt, she herself now chooses to disobey the command and the rule and the law and the decree of her own father. Because his desire was that this baby would be killed. After all, it would have been easy for her to do it because she had no personal interest in the child. But when she saw him, it was something about that child that took her heart. And she spared the life of this little infant, crying baby there in this ark that could have easily drowned in the Nile River. But she chose to give that baby life.